I'm in Shenandoah National Park, and this is Fisher's Gap. This is the overlook. Let's look down into the Luray area. Yep, there it is, the Blue Bomber. And it's cold and windy up here today, so I'm going to make this quick. I'm going to close up the Bomber. There's the Appalachian Trailhead right there. I'm going to get on the AT, and I'm going to hike up this way about a half a mile and look for an old homestead up here that was owned by Martin Van Buren Gander, G-A-N-D-E-R. I saw it on the old 1929 map. So let's go up here and see if we can find anything. .6 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 3210, and that's where I came from. That's the Appalachian Trail, and I've been looking. I just crossed over the drainage that's on the map that I'll point out. Just crossed over the drainage, and I've been looking for a driveway, but I have not seen anything that look like a driveway to me. Now I've got the location per the 1929 map for the homestead is right down in there somewhere, about 500 feet or so. There's a little bit more snow up here than what I was hoping for. That's not a lot of snow, but it's enough to make things slippery and icy. But I might venture down in there just a little ways to see if I see anything. If it gets too slippery or anything, I'm just going to have to call this off for today. .75 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 3160, and this is the spot. I found it. I'll do a 360 here in a minute. I'm about 160 feet away from the 1929 location. The 1929 location, though, is down there where it goes over the edge there, real steep. So I came up here because this looked a lot flatter, and here it is right here. Here's the big rock pile. It starts there. It's got trees growing out of it there and there. This is kind of this is a hole in the ground here that's all filled in with dead wood. More rock pile over there, and continuing on over here to where you see all this dead wood. And the thing that really clinches it, that's a brick, another brick, another brick with some mortar on it. There's a brick with moss on it. Over here's a broken brick right there. So, and then let me do a 360. That's looking down towards the creek, and it it gets really steep over the edge there. It gets really steep. But up here it's pretty nice, And this part over here, where there's no snow, that part almost looks, excuse me, terraced off. Anyway, let me do a little 360. Got a nice view of the mountains here. There's the big pile of rocks. Not sure what's over there yet. Haven't looked. And then behind us, it starts getting steep. So this is the ones. This is the one spot where it would make sense to put your house. The AT's back that way. I'm gotta bushwhack my way back to the AT. And then here's back around to the terraced off spot. Now I haven't seen any daffodils or flowers or anything, but this is definitely the spot right here. I'll get some more stills. This area over here on the other side is, there's water running in through here. This is all drainage. So I don't know if there's a spring up there that's causing that, or whether that's just natural, you know, drainage from the snow melt. But anyway, it's coming down here. There's no trees there because that's all wet, marshy, swampy. I can see the water running, and then it heads on down that way towards the creek. And then beyond that, I don't really, well, I'm not going to cross over the swamp anyway in this weather, but I don't see anything over there that looks noteworthy to me. I went off the AT looking for this old road. I'll try and point it out on the map when I do the map talk. But here it is, I found it. See how dished out it is? And there it is, armored up on the left side. And that takes you back down to Fisher's Gap. So I may follow this back down to the gap. But I'm going to come back up here about another 300 feet or so. There's supposed to be a sharp bend in this road to the left, and right near that sharp bend is where the driveway going down to that Gander homestead I just found. That's where up here's where the driveway started. So I'm just going to go up here and look around for a second. It's only 300 or 400 feet, and then I'm going to turn around and head back towards the Fisher's Gap. .3 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 3260. That's the way I came from. I'm standing at the bend in the road. There's one side of it heading down towards Fisher's Gap. Here's the bend in the road, and then there it is after making about a 90, well, maybe a little more than at least a 90-degree turn. And I don't think this is going to show up because of the brightness. But here's the driveway, start of the driveway. There's one side of it where that tree is. It's all dished out there. And maybe you can see the part of the embankment over there. And then if you look down through here, now this is why it didn't show up on LiDAR. There's no real dish out. This is pretty flat in through here. But you see how far you can go before you start hitting trees? And from here to where the AT, where I jumped off the AT, that is in that direction about 1/10 of a mile. Between 1 and 2/10 of a mile. So it goes down that way, and then it drops down to where the modern day AT is. On some of the old maps where I'm standing, this was labeled, on some of the older maps, this is labeled the AT. And maybe it was. And maybe the Park Service decided to close this off and go around this big hill here over that way. And one final thing, right here, well, let me get out of the shadows. That's a clay pipe right there. Right here where the driveway starts, clay pipe. That's clay pipe. More clay pipe. Clay pipe, clay pipe. So this could have been something, somebody built something here to mark this turnoff for the driveway, maybe, I don't know. Or maybe there was a dwelling here and that was part of a flue pipe or something. Anyway, very curious that it's right there. And clay pipes don't grow in the woods. So right back there at that turn, I think I'm on the horse trail now. Right back there at that turn, I came out of the wilderness. I was following the old road, and then when it got down into a flat area, it got a lot of tall dead grass and stuff, and I lost track of the road. So I just started hiking on a bearing that would bring me over here to Fisher's Gap. And the next thing I knew, I ran into this. This has got to be the horse trail. So anyway, I'm going to follow this on down to Skyline Drive. The horse trail crosses Skyline Drive just like a couple of 100 feet south of the gap. .7 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 3,070. I followed the old road back. I ended up on the horse trail for a while, and then the horse trail and the old road split up again. So I was going to follow the horse trail, and then I changed my mind and said, well, what the heck, may as well bushwhack my way down to Fisher's Gap. So I followed the old road as best as I could. Maybe when you look down through there, you see there's a couple of trees cut down and looks like dead grass. That's the beginning of the old road right there. I'll mark the spot where I'm standing with the GPS. I'm with a mark from my GPS. And as for a reference, there's the overlook. This is a map of today's hike. The quadrangle name is Big Meadows, 1994. And this was a bushwhack looking for the homestead on land owned by Martin V. Gander. And I'll also show you how I figured out where it was located using this old Stony Man map. So here's Fisher's Gap. This road here on the west side is called the Red Gate Fire Road. It comes across the gap, and then when it goes down the east side, they changed the name to Rose River Fire Road. But that road used to be the Gordonsville to Newmarket Turnpike. It's an old historic road. It's still maintained in fairly good condition. Anyway, got off, parked my car here. This is the overlook, Fisher's Gap overlook. There's a little short connector that gets you over to the Appalachian Trail. Started climbing the mountain on the AT until I got close to this drainage right here. This is Little Hawkspill Creek. Started looking around in this area for the driveway, which was shown on the old map. I never did find the driveway in through here. Now, the 1929 map showed the location of the homestead being right about there on this map. So I started just bushwhacking down towards this. Well, this area, when you get there, it's actually not where the house was. This location is too close to the creek, and it's real steep and rocky there. So I climbed up a little ways because I saw an area up here that looked a lot flatter and nicer. And sure enough, this is the actual location right here. Got some pictures of that. Then bushwhacked back to the AT. Started heading back towards my car. Now when I got down to here, there was an old, this pink here is the old road. I saw this on LiDAR and I wanted to come over here and see if I could find it. So I bushwhacked over to here and then followed the old road up to here. When you get up to here, this road made a hard left and headed down this way. And right up in there is where I found the turnoff for the driveway that came over here. Now I think because it's so flat in through there that over the years the driveway just filled in. But this is on a slope and this is well eroded and easy to find. Followed this back down to my car. Oh, the other thing is up here where this old road makes a hard left, where you turn off to the driveway, I found a bunch of clay pipe up there. I got pictures of that also. And also down here by where the actual homestead was, a big pile of rocks there. It's all covered with moss and stuff. It's a little hard to make out now. But there are some bricks in that location. I got pictures of that also. All right, as always, here's a few more things to look at. Here's Stony Man, 1929. And that spot right there is the homestead. And here's Fisher's Gap, and this double dotted line is the old road that I followed coming up there. And there's where it makes a hard left turn, right there. And there's the driveway heading over, which I never did find the driveway. But this turn is obvious, and you can tell when you're up here, you can tell where the driveway must have gone because there's a kind of cleared out area. All right, another thing that I wanted to show you. So this is Martin Van Buren Gander. He lived 1839 to 1926, and he's buried over in Luray. Now, the land got taken after 1926, so that's why this is addressed to the Gander estate. 420 acres, and some of the land is in Page County and some of it's in Madison. The house is in Page County where I was hiking. Frame construction, 4 rooms, 1.5 story, metal roof. Okay, very poor condition. And then an old dilapidated barn and some apple, peach, and cherry trees in an orchard. Another interesting thing is to see what they got paid. Land that they classified as just slope, they got $1 an acre. That's it. Land that was orchards, $50. And then this is grazing type 2, 70 acres, $16 an acre. So to me, that's kind of interesting. The other thing is, some of these surveys include these scale drawings. Here's the property boundary, and you can match that up with the online Shenandoah property records. And if you do that, if you zoom and pan this to match what they have online, that little black square right there, that is the homestead location, and that agrees pretty closely with where I found it. This is a turn, this is a hairpin turn in the old Redgate Fire Road. Short hike ended up being 1.8 miles and a total ascent of 364 feet. And that was a hike for today.